Welcome to Determined to Succeed. I'm your host, Dawn, also known as Unique Connector. So I'm so excited to have Becky on the show today. So, Becky, I want to kick it off today with asking you a question of why are you so passionate about what you do?
I love that so much. I am passionate because I have seen crazy results with using your brain when it gets triggered by money.
Ooh, yeah.
Yep. And I think why I'm so passionate about it is COVID
Mm.
really helped me get into that place of being curious what I could do with the stimulus check and how I could 10x it. And I did more than that. And so using my brain and my expertise and my experience has turned into a business. And I love helping women entrepreneurs really unlock their subconscious so that they can grow and scale. So that's
Ooh.
what I do.
Well, let's talk about this. So, even before COVID, what were you doing?
Yeah. Wow. Well, my background is in human services. Gosh, drug and alcohol addiction counseling and habit change is my jam. And before COVID, my daughter and I were working on our first degree black belt in Taekwondo. And I was mentoring. I was the director of the non-martial art program to help women with situational awareness. And so became a body language expert. And, I'm just an advocate for people who have gone through traumatic experiences and really understanding the humanness in all of us. I love human behavior and how watching how our brain can be harmed and healed also. And learning, my minor is holistic health and wellness education. And so I could see women would come to our program because they had a violation that happened or witnessed a circumstance. And we were able, non-martial art related, be able to teach them situational awareness, but to hear their story and to really love on them because connection, I believe, is the most important component when we're going through a healing journey. So that's how it all started.
Well, right there, you just, said it right there, connection and
Mhm.
holding that space and letting people share, their experience, their stories. We don't always have those safe spaces.
No, and I never imagined that it would turn out that way. Just Meredith and I were working on our first degree black belt, which by the way, I wanted to quit like 100 times and I didn't because I have tools on board. But it's kind of a metaphor for all things, whether you're a W-2 earner or you're an entrepreneur. We were just talking about how courageous that is. And I think being able to multitask so many things. We're also talking about being moms and feeling misunderstood when other people aren't doing the kind of thing that we're doing right now. And so I think that just having that support of, what is the most exciting and excellent thing that I can do today? That's kind of my mantra. Just be me. What can I do today to be supportive for you?
Yeah. Well, I would say, what do you feel like too has even been the pivotal moment for you to even maybe change that mindset where that's not always the normal mindset for a lot of us?
It's not. And I also, honestly, when I was going through college, my father was killed in a really traumatic car accident. I was 21, he was only 47. And he was a magnet. I live in Colorado Springs, and it was a smaller place than it is now, and just how connected, how much life my dad had. And going through grief trauma, I've just had a lot of pretty big sucker punches. That's one of the I have a quiz and I have a one of the the bugaboos I call them is a sucker punch. And it's when things happen in life where we either decide to throw in the towel or we keep getting back up and we dust off what we fell down on and find tools and resources to help us keep going. I do believe that the things that we think come from experiences, and we can layer on those things with beliefs. And inside those beliefs, they're actually not really helpful thoughts and feelings. And we can really loop on that. So, working with the subconscious, I think, is the best way to really expedite the kind of results that you're looking for.
Yeah. Well, why did you decide about money
Yeah.
mindset?
Oh my gosh, because I had so many triggers. I had so many money drama things that I made up in my head. My grandparents, my father's dad had a construction company and they went bankrupt. And when I was born, that's around about that time, well-meaning people in my family, we didn't talk about it. Money was taboo because they were trying to protect me and my sister and my cousins and everybody else and their reputation. And so I grew up, money was freaky and it was really scary. My parents made a lot of it, but we didn't know how and what that was all about. And it was just, money was just so weird to me. And then I married an engineer. And so
Mhm.
money was very systematized. And I was like, what actually is this? And he kept saying, money is a tool, Becky. Anyway, so I just was very fascinated. And then when COVID came in 2019, while I was working on doing the non-martial art program, I was getting certified to be a life coach because I didn't want to be in clinic anymore. I didn't want to do the drug and alcohol, but I still wanted to do the habit change things. And I was working with women, just general life coaching during right when COVID happened. I launched my business in April, and I started talking to women about money, but it was very specific things like income goals or setting income goals. And they'd be like, nope, I don't set goals. Well, I think, my gosh, what's that all about? So the more that I started to get into the nuance of seeing the body language, the visceral reaction of savings or debt or income goals, toxic money or sucker punches, I got very curious because I could see that we respond or we react to a financial wound or a goal trauma. And a goal trauma is something that we tried really hard for and it didn't happen. Could be way back to third grade selling Girl Scout cookies. And it
Yeah.
just follows us.
Follows us forever. And that's right. I think of sometimes too, where I've always avoided goals too. And I'm like, what was it that triggered me to
Mhm.
not like, and I think sometimes too, I never had the experience to actually set a goal and like be okay to reach it and to
Mm,
celebrate it. Cause I feel like that's another thing too in our society is that we never celebrate things.
exactly.
And
Move
so
on.
I
Yeah.
was like, what was it that triggered me to do that and to like dig that deep? And so even too, for some of the women that you're working with, how are you digging that deep to help them
Yeah.
really understand what they're made of, or what's triggered them in the past?
That's such a good question because sometimes we don't even know that we have a trigger. There could be an example, like with Chris in the beginning, when I would balance our checkbook, or we would talk, it was more about taxes. We would talk about taxes. I'd get really angry. And he'd be like, why are you getting so mad? And I had no clue. I couldn't think back to anything that happened or anything. But once I started working on this, there's 4 different pillars. We started to really dig into the early childhood paradigm. Well, as a little person, without me even knowing, I was having the nuance, the family rule that was unspoken. We don't talk about money. And then we would watch my parents fight over bills at the kitchen table as they were trying to balance their checkbook and do their budget in the 60s and 70s. My sister and I, wow, money's really scary.
Yeah.
So there's an element of, an under earning or just a lot of shame around talking about money. In our faith-based community, it was like you just don't talk about that. In addition to, it's a cultural don't talk about. And then we had it going on in our family paradigm. So I can go into a place where we do some visualization and I use a couple of somatic tools because I really understand trauma in the body because it does keep the score. Thank you, Von Bessel. And is that his name? Body Keeps the Score. It's a book. You should read it.
Okay.
About how our body does really experience trauma in lots of different ways and how it manifests in our body. And it's a mind body. And in my world, it's a mind body money connection. And so when people are out there as an entrepreneur, for example, or even like, again, a W-2 earner who wants to scale and earn more, a lot of times they won't ask for the sale, for the promotion, for the next thing, because there's something about it. You just don't talk about it. In my family, that was the taboo anyway.
Yeah. Well, I would say, the more too I've been learning about myself and going through this whole entrepreneur journey, I've been learning a lot of things about myself and recognizing things and trying to shift also too. You know, Trauma happens, mindset, all these things you can work on. But do you ever feel that people can really move away from it? Like, what's the thing that really helps them get to the other side, I guess you could almost say?
Yes. First of all, it's not magic pixie dust. It's work. And I do believe now. I respectfully disagree with a lot of uh, business coaches and consultants in that regard. Well, it's a mindset issue. You've got a mindset problem, or you don't want to work on your P&L. It's because it's a mindset. Well, I believe that it really starts in your nervous system. Once you can come to a place of loving compassion and kindness to unpack from a perspective of how you feel, my whole process, a lot of mindset comes from your thoughts down to your body. How I work with people is we work with the subconscious piece coming from your body, from your core, your guts, all the way up. So it's really that feeling that you feel in your body. And it's somatic, it's that whole mind body connection. And then your brain, we start to work with that, like, what you believe about that, is that really true? And then we can go to a cognitive place because we've calmed down your amygdala, part of your brain that's really helping you either get into that fight or flight stress response because your brain really thinks that you're in danger, goal trauma, when it's really not. And it's tricky and sneaky, but it's just doing its job. So we go through a whole process that we can go through somatically, either through trauma-informed breath work, where it can really go to a place where your body is actually breathing and the breath is doing the work, or I use emotional freedom technique. I use tapping, and we really tap in. We let your brain have its day in court. We talk about the negative things, not to anchor it because it's not going to stick. It comes to that place of like, yeah, and another thing. And then we tap to the positive, and your brain really does shift like, no, wait a minute. Maybe I could reach out to 5 people today and just ask them, hey, do you know anybody who needs my help? And our brain
Mm,
makes it really difficult.
yeah. Well, and that's the part too, is some people don't want to sign up to do the hard work.
Oh, yeah, it's 100%. And what's so fascinating is that how is it serving you now?
Yeah.
I
And
know.
then it's just going to keep layering on top of it and layering on top of it. And that's where I'm just like, I've done a lot of positive intelligence with my
Mhm.
coach in the past. And that's really helped me to just think differently about,
Yep.
oh my gosh, this is why I do what I do. But it's hard work. It's stuff you don't want to do and you want to avoid it. But there is no magic pill.
Yeah.
Seems
Well, part of the habit change model. Once you get yourself somatically regulated, which is the first part of what I do with people, then we go into a process of a cognitive behavior change. So you really can go into really shifting from a therapeutic perspective, from my experience as a drug and alcohol addiction counselor, that we just really, how about this? We habit stack things so it feels delicious and it's not hard. It really is actually, I'm getting some traction here. And then the practice is the mindset. When it feels delicious and you love it and you really believe it and it's serving you well, you're somatically, you're emotionally regulated. You've got your cognitive pieces all locked in. So it's a cooperation. And then the practice is the mindset. That's the last part.
well, how do you personally go through all this with these people
Ah,
and not get
oh,
tricked?
oh, well, I just don't. Because it's not my journey. It's my job to make sure that I am showing you that you are a champion. And the first piece that I always share with people, there's nothing to fix here, first of all. So I don't have any agenda on fixing or feeling for people. I just hold space with empathy and compassion. I give them the tools, and that's what a coach does. And my I don't work with people who need to work with a licensed professional. There's a way that I can help uh, vet that out if they do need to bring in an expert, and I'll refer them. I work with people who get down and they're bummed out or whatever, and it is kind of like getting your black belt, because when people get down, my job is to say, get back up and get in the ring. What could you do different today? How can you get out and be more excellent than you were yesterday? Because we have lots of evidence that this is working. And how can you really work with your brain, not have to beat yourself into affirmations and things on your mirror. I mean, that's like the last part that we get to. And again, once we get the beliefs and the feeling in your body to be in cooperation, that it truly does believe what's true.
And I feel like that's where, sometimes some people have tried certain things and it hasn't
Yeah.
always worked or stick because they're not really digging deep and understanding and kind of healing some of the wounds in a way to get to where they should be.
What's cool about the somatics, and I'll just end with that part, like what you're talking about, like people don't really want to do the work. I think what they haven't experienced is that you can actually shift in a very short amount of time. I can do breath work with somebody in a matter of 3 minutes, and there can be a cognitive shift. There can be a change in the visceral part of your body, your vagal nerve, where it really does have an opportunity to calm down, get your heart rate to come down, get your breathing so you can calm down, so then you can come into a more brilliant state. When your stress level is really high, it's very difficult to make decisions that are worthy of following through with.
Well, I've noticed even myself, I've been doing a lot more yoga and that
Oh yeah.
the breathing is so important for us and just that moment of pause.
Yep. Yep. It's definitely something that we do forget because we have habits that we believe are serving us and things that we've done since that's why I have my picture back there. That's a little bugaboo. And sometimes she wants to run my business. That's my 3-year-old me. And I
Yeah.
just say, oh, what do you need today, love? And that's how I keep myself regulated and have clean thinking when I go into my coaching with my people, is that I do a lot. This is my thought work, and I do it on pen and paper. And this beautiful, it's a hardbound and it's linen and it's lovely. And I'll put my thoughts in here, and I evaluate my things, and I bless and release my people because I'm confident the tools that I've given them are definitely going to help. They can do it.
Yeah, they can do it. And I love how you do have a photo behind you. That's
Yeah.
so cool. And I think too, on this entrepreneur journey, what's the one thing that you're like, holy cow, I'm so glad I did this because it's something that you never expected, I guess, when you went to the entrepreneur world. What was it?
Yeah, I never ever expected that I would be doing this. To be really honest with you, I have an invisible health circumstance with my lungs. I thought COVID was going to eat me alive. That's the honest truth. And I
Mm.
don't really talk about that much. It's a very vulnerable conversation, but I think it's important. You and I talked about that when we can really lay down our masks. There are a lot of people out there who have an invisible circumstance we can't see, that everything seems to be so awesome. For me, it is awesome, but I also, this is my purpose, and I have so much compassion and empathy. I really want to help women in particular, because I think we have so many things that we juggle, like lots of spinning plates, that there's nothing wrong with this, that we can judge things up to fix it in a perspective of doing something different, better, and than we've done before. So that's why I love what I'm doing. And it really is, it's of service 100%. I would not be happy if I had to go be a W-2 earner.
Well, and that's where, it's unfortunate certain circumstances that we have in life, but it's almost, the journey, it's paving its way for us to get to where we didn't really know we were supposed to go. And, I kind of giggle too of like how we randomly met and had this instant connection. We're like, we need to have a one-on-one. And I just feel it more too, where it's like you need to surround yourself with people that can help you learn and grow and have that deep connection that life is too short. We need to embrace this time and hold space for other people. And so you're really brave and courageous to lean into this and look at all the people that you're impacting. And that's where I'm excited to keep seeing you shine brighter and even to more ripple effects out there for other people. So if people are wondering, tell me more, what, like all that, some of that wording too, even for me, I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of stuff that I don't know about. So how are you working with your clients, Becky, even too? Are you doing one-on-ones? Are you doing groups? Like, tell me more even too. So in case any of the listeners are wanting to understand, how can I shift my mindset on this stuff?
Oh, thank you. It's so nice. Well, I do a couple of things. The one thing you can do is take a quiz that is all about, let's unpack and figure out what your little bugaboo is trying to tell you. And it's really quick. There's a video that goes with it that's super short to explain what that little bugaboo is trying to tell you. And then we can do a 15-minute audit. It won't cost you anything but a little bit of time and energy. The other thing is, I have, like you, I love to connect with people. That was the other thing I did during COVID, is I love networking. That's just, I did sell durable medical equipment at one point in time before I met Chris and we had our family. And I went door to door talking to different gatekeepers, and they were like, no, you can't come here. And so finally I said, all right, well, I'm just going to go to networking things. And that's how I got in. And so I have a virtual speed networking event that I do once a month. It's the second Wednesday of every month. And we get in there, we do lots of cool things. We're building strong referral networks and strategic partnership. And also I give them a little pink spoon, kind of like from Baskin Robbins, a little taste of what it's like to do a little bit of somatic work from the perspective of shifting your mind with the prompts that I give you. So you get 3 different groups you break out to. You're going to meet about 9 people in an hour. It's very quick. We get it done, and people keep coming back for 3 years now. It's really fun.
I love it. I know. And I'm unfortunate I missed it yesterday. Life happens.
Yep.
Curveballs are thrown at you, but hey, so I'm excited to experience it in the future.
Yeah.
But I'm so thankful we met. There's a reason behind us meeting, I think. And this is the part too, is I love that you're sharing this and keep shining bright. And I hope that the listeners really take a moment to think about this and to kind of understand what's the deep root that's holding them back,
Yep.
or things they need to work on.
I never knew that I had this. I had a friend who shared with me, hey, would you like to create your confidential money map? I was like, what are you talking about? So we were able to go through that and recognize, like, ooh, that's where I realized, oh, that deep wound about my family and the bankruptcy piece and how it affected me through. I started working when I was 15. I had a job smelling like a burger at Wendy's for like a whole year. I liked being able to work, but the point I'm trying to make is the connection. And that's what I think we're coming to the conclusion with this. Connection is so important. And if you're feeling like there's something going on with my money, or my worth or whatever, something along those lines, let's just talk, because there's something about that that's holding you back, that is just trying to keep you safe. And so you can just, come to my website and have all my goodies there. BeckyClabaugh.com.
Well, thank you for being on the show. And I'm excited to keep growing and learning and holding space. So thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you, Dawn. You're such a sweetheart. I can't wait to do more fun things with you.
And to meet in person in
Yes,
October,
I
officially a hug. So that's yay. All right. Well, thank you again.